I've profiled the all-electric Volvo C40 Recharge. Let's not forget, it probably wouldn't have happened without this, the XC40 Recharge. The two share an architecture, the most expensive part of developing a vehicle. Both are built in Belgium too. But the XC is different enough that I wanted to give it a look. For example, brother and sister share almost no body panels from the A-pillar back. For many buyers, the range is the most important part of an electric vehicle. The E.P.A. rates the 2022 Volvo XC40 Recharge at 223 miles. Now that may not seem very impressive, but you have to remember, some manufacturers underpromise and overdeliver, others the other way around. I saw an estimated 250 miles from the C40 when I drove it at the Palm Springs, California event in 80-degree heat. Things are much cooler in Seattle. Obviously, the biggest difference in approach between the two vehicles is the behind. The XC has a more traditional SUV silhouette than the fastback C with this flashy tail lamp animation. The wagon back is a little better at doing the chores though. I'm driving a 2021 XC40. 2022s are refreshed with this backlit interior panel. It's an abstract topographical map of Sweden's Abisko National Park. At night, the ambient backlighting is peak style. XC40s hitting dealerships now get the C40's more simplified schnoz. XC40 Recharge is going to have a little bit more cargo space than the C40 simply because this one has more of a squared off back end. But you also have to compare this to cars like Ioniq 5, EV6, and Mustang Mach-E. I always do the test without the security shade. No leaving it in the garage. This one tucks under the floor, which becomes a divider, so the shoes that you buy at Nordstrom don't slide around. There are the expected touches to make the space more useful, and skiers can keep their boards off the roof, even when hauling to the slopes. It's an easy reach to drop the seat backs. That opens up 46 cubic feet and a completely flat floor. FYI, that's 13 less than Ioniq 5, which is larger than people think. Seats raised, Volvo says there's 15.3 cubic feet, but it only measures below the cover I removed, safety and all. Overall, I estimate it's about 3 cubes more than C40. This one swallows up 6 packs in back, easy peasy, probably one more than the fastback version, and much the same as the competitors I mentioned. Mach-E's frunk takes on an extra pack. This one's only good for the supplied charge cord. C and XC are both built on the compact modular architecture, same as the Polestar 2, which is a hatchbacky sedan-like vehicle. Volvo only sells the dual-motor all-wheel drive powertrain in the US. There's 402 horsepower and 487 pound-feet of torque to move some 4,800 pounds. This might be a bit disorienting at first for some people, but XC40 Recharge does not have an on-off switch. Your butt is the on-off switch. You just sit down, put it into drive and reverse, and go. The transmission is a single speed. Higher regeneration drag is a menu-selected choice. The steering effort can be firmed up here too. The lithium-ion battery pack is rated at 78 kilowatt hours. 75 of them are usable. I'll note that it's not completely flat. It might look like there's a driveshaft tunnel. There isn't. Order an XC40 Recharge now, and it starts at $56,250 because they only come loaded. That's before federal and state tax incentives. Dual motor all-wheel drive, all that horsepower, all that instant torque available means XC40 Recharge is really quick off the line. The sprint to 60 miles an hour is a rapid 4.5 seconds. That's faster than most EVs, slower than others. Definitely brisk enough for all but hardcore enthusiasts. There are no programmable performance sound. What you hear is the electric motors. Very honest of Volvo. And the motor note is only heard if focusing on it. Nothing whiny or electrical sounding. Not much wind noise off the body at highway speeds either. I've said it before, I'll say it again, heavy batteries in the floor means the center of gravity is very low, so chucking the XC40 Recharge into corners is great fun. Here's a great big bump. The suspension soaks it up very nicely. XC40 is extremely comfortable. Nice car. Volvo says its cars are meant as decompression chambers after a hard day's work, I would agree. EVs by their very nature tend to be quiet. The Volvo is all that, plus very refined. And visibility is great, really easy to see out of this car. No blind spots. C40 has a big one in the rear. Using the one-pedal driving setting, city motoring without the stop pedal is fairly elegant. The transition from recuperation to the physical discs is excellent. Some EVs struggle to hit their estimated range. Recharge doesn't. The EPA rated range might be 223 miles, but with temperatures in the mid to high 50s, I'm seeing closer to 240, so Volvo underpromises, over-delivers. Again, in 80-degree weather, I saw an estimated 250 miles of range in the C40. In Sheboygan, in January, that will drop significantly. That's battery tech. Things that affect EV's range: cold temperatures, highway driving, they're actually more efficient in the city, plus jackrabbit starts and bad weather. Those last two, just like any gas-powered car. Volvo's Pilot Assist semi-autonomous driving tech is solid, not as confidence-inspiring as Super Cruise in a Chevy Bolt EUV or Autopilot in a Tesla Model Y. The Swede's automatic emergency braking system has been proven to be one of the best available, stopping effectively for cars, children, cyclists, and large animals, even at night. Charge speed will be important to owners that road trip a lot. Using 240 Level 2 at home, this juices from spent to 100% in about 8 hours, in other words, while you sleep. With commercial public DC fast charging, 10 to 80% takes 37 minutes. Its top take rate is 150 kilowatts, similar to ID4 and Mustang Mach-E, not as fast as Model Y, Ioniq 5, and EV6 if those have access to a 350 kilowatt terminal. For those that seldom travel, this is a moot point. A reminder that this is a 2021 model. 2022s get a leather-free interior with a wool blend fabric that's not found on many vehicles, so this one will look a little bit different inside, but the utility and functionality is the same. Giant door pockets will take on a small child. I recommend a car seat. The felt material dampens rattles. In addition to the expected storage cubbies, there are a few clever ones. Every vehicle should have this little hook that swings out, perfect for hanging bags and purses. The CMA architecture doesn't have a completely flat floor, so there's a hefty spine running down the middle that eats into cabin space and storage. The heated seats are quite supportive and adjustable, as Volvo's chairs usually are. These aren't quite as cozy as, say, something in an XC60. The company is as serious about sustainability as it is safety. Many of the materials in its new cars are from recycled fishnets and that plastic Coke bottle you recently tossed. I suggest checking out my C40 Recharge video for an overview of the Android Automotive-based user interface. An OTA update adds Apple CarPlay. Finally! Voice commands using the waking phrase, "Hey Google," are quite good. Nearly everything can be controlled doing it this way, so the lack of hard buttons isn't a big deal. In fact, it's easier to keep eyes on the road and ask the car to turn up the heat or change audio inputs. Speaking of, the Harman Kardon system is excellent, rich, punchy, and spatial. I'm 5'9", and other than the door openings being a little bit small for getting car seats in and out, this is not a bad back seat. Head, knee, leg, and foot room, all pretty generous for a vehicle this size. The cushions, those are a little bit on the short side, but at least they're comfortable. Because of the generous footroom, you can see some wiring here. It would be nice to cover that up. Pockets on both seats. Evil Twin would love that. I wonder where he is this week. No separate climate zone back here, but at least there are adjustable vents. You can charge your phone up back here. And Minnesotans, you got heated seats here. Just like the front, there are lined door pockets to keep rattles down. These are smaller, though. The battery pack runs right down the middle. The spine is on the large side, so if you put somebody in the middle, footroom's going to be kind of limited. Really, I would keep it to 2 adults back here. You could put 3, but for comfort, yeah, keep it to 2. Volvo seems to have de-emphasized safety in its marketing lately, but says it remains the company's highest priority. Its collision energy management is arguably the best in the biz. Notice that nothing behind the windshield pillar deforms. XC40 includes a high-strength steel cabin cell that doesn't crush in rollover situations, or when dropped 30 meters from a crane. You want to be in one of these if you drive off a bridge. A personal note, my family has been in 3 Volvos that have been totaled, 2 incidents fairly violent, and walked away. Let's sum up the XC40 Recharge. Time for red light, green light. Green lights include the acceleration and performance that 402 horsepower offer. XC40 Recharge is quick as a bunny. Volvo handling and serene comfort is one of the best kept secrets in the car biz. Personally, I like the funky fresh design of the XC40 inside and out, sort of like Sweden's take on the Kia Soul, and there's no place I'd rather be in a bad car crash. Yellow lights? While Volvo is conservative about the distance it can travel, my observation of 240 miles is still lower than much of the competition. Its charge speed and curve are good at home and 150 kilowatt terminals. Other EVs can take advantage of 350 kilowatt spigots. It has a frunk, but not a large one, if that's a deal breaker. Red light, it only comes fully loaded and starts at over 56 grand before tax credits. The spine that's packed with batteries intrudes on cabin space, especially in the back seat. If you travel a lot, and if your routes include 350 kilowatt chargers, the XC loses time at the juicer. Volvo rates lower when it comes to rated reliability, though not sure how its EVs do specifically. Remember, there's no engine or transmission to maintain here, and regenerative braking means the pads don't get used as much. Compared to gas-powered XC40s, the Recharge saves over $13,000 in energy costs over 5 years, according to the E.P.A., not to mention the elimination of tailpipe emissions. This is a very well done vehicle. It's comfortable, it's safe, it's got all sorts of features. The biggest ding against it is the 223 miles of rated range. I'm seeing better than that. You're just gonna have to look at your needs and buy the vehicle that's right for you. Maybe you prefer the fastback look of the C40. If you have the funds and want a safe, agile, and comfortable compact crossover, the more practical XC40 Recharge is a useful and clean machine. It's important to know your own personal needs and to do your homework when buying any car. New to the EV world? Before buying the car, contact an electrician to find out how much Level 2 charging costs to install in your home. If you're worried about range, keep a logbook. Find out how much you really drive every week so you know which car and battery size to buy. Also, if you take road trips a lot, look up charging stations on routes that you might travel to make sure that you can get to your destination easily and safely. No, it's not as convenient and fast as gas, yet. Traveling by EV doesn't need to be a horror story. I've done it a number of times. I've never been stranded. There have been occasional issues, but a plan B has always been easy to find. I'll note that Volvo recently left the European Automotive Manufacturers Association, effectively saying it wasn't moving aggressively enough towards sustainability and emissions reduction. The company plans to be fully electric by 2030. Hope you got something out of my look at the Volvo XC40 Recharge. I'm sorry, I don't have any fun fact for you. I'm out of Volvo fun facts. But I will tell you, please subscribe to this channel and click notifications. You're here at the end. I'm assuming you got something out of it. Follow me on Twitter. I'm very active there. And if you have a question, leave it in the comments. I'll try to get back to you. Thanks for watching. That's Driven. I'm Tom Voelk.